Hello students, in this video lesson we will continue the revision of our chapter Life Processes. Now we will do the questions which are on page number 110, and the first question is, what are the components of the transport system in human beings? What are the functions of these components? Now as we all know, heart, blood and blood vessels are the main components of the transport system in human beings. Their functions are: heart pumps oxygenated blood throughout the body and it receives deoxygenated blood from various parts and sends this impure blood to lungs for the oxygenation. The blood transports oxygen, nutrients, carbon dioxide and nitrogenous waste to respective parts of the body. And the blood vessels, we have two blood vessels, arteries and veins, which carry blood to all parts of the body. The next question on the same page number is, why is it necessary to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in mammals and birds? See children, mammals and birds are warm-blooded animals which keep their body temperature constant irrespective of the environment they live in. This process requires a lot of oxygen for more cellular respiration, so that the warm-blooded animals produce more energy to balance their body temperature. So it is very important for these animals to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood to keep their circulatory system efficient. The next question on the same page number is, what are the components of transport system in highly organized plants? See, there are two types of conducting tissues. You all have studied about these tissues in class 9th also, which are highly organized to carry the transport system in plants. These two tissues are xylem and phloem. Xylem conducts water and minerals from roots to rest of the plant body parts. Similarly, the phloem will transport food material from leaf to other parts of the plant body. The next question on the same page number is, how are water and minerals transported in plants? Now as we have already discussed right now only, xylem is responsible for the conduction of water and minerals from roots to rest of the plant parts. Xylem is further divided into parts such as tracheids and vessels of roots, stems and leaves, which are interconnected to form a continuous system of water conducting channels that reach all the parts of the plant body. Now since water has to flow against gravity, so this system is not enough for the water to reach the heights of the plant, and so transpiration takes place. Transpiration is the evaporation of water from the aerial parts of the plants. This transpiration creates a suction pressure which forces water into xylem cells of the roots. After this, there will be a steady movement of water from the root xylem to all parts of the plant, connected through the conducting interconnected water channels. The next question on the same page number is, how is food transported in plants? Now again we have discussed it right now only. Food is transported in plants by a special organ called phloem. The phloem transports food material from leaf to different parts of a plant. Transportation of food in phloem is achieved by the osmotic pressure in the tissues causing water to move, because of which the food material also moves with a lesser pressure. And this helps in transportation of food material as per needs in the plant body. The next set of questions is on page number 112, and the first question is, describe the structure and functioning of nephrons. Now this is also a very important question which is asked many times in exams, so learn this very thoroughly. The nephrons are the filtering units of the kidney, which are large in number. Some substances in the initial filtrate such as glucose, amino acids, salts and major amount of water are selectively reabsorbed as the urine flows along the tube. The main components of nephron are glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, PCT, which is the proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle, DCT, which is the distal convoluted tubule, and the collecting duct. Now the functioning of nephron. The blood enters kidney through the renal artery, which branches into many capillaries associated with the glomerulus. We all know that glomerulus are a bunch of roundabout 50 capillaries. The water and solute are transferred to the nephron at Bowman's capsule. In the proximal tubule, some substances such as amino acids, glucose and salts are selectively reabsorbed, and unwanted molecules are added in the urine. This filtrate then moves down into the loop of Henle, where more water is absorbed as our body cannot afford to lose so much amount of water. And from here, the filtrate then moves upwards into the distal convoluted tubule and finally to the collecting duct. The collecting duct then collects urine from many nephrons, and this urine formed in each kidney enters a long tube called ureter. From ureter, it gets transported to the urinary bladder and then into the urethra, through which we excrete it out through our body. We will cover rest of the questions in our next video lesson.